Good morning, folks. I am Bryant, Carpenter, sports editor of the Meriden Record Journal, coming to you Saturday morning with our This Week in High School sports show. And, I'm flying solo this week. No Shawnee Krofssik, and I feel kind of lonesome. I feel so lonesome, I could almost cry. Well, I got to tell you, Shawnee has kind of taken a cue from Pete. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Pete went down to Nashville to cut a new country album. And Sean has informed me that he had to go down to Louisiana to work with his Zydeco punk fusion band. They will be recording an album. In fact, I've heard it cut. It's a killer version of Hank Williams' Jambalaya, which is why I've got Hank Williams on my mind. So Shawnee's cutting a new album with the Zydeco fusion band. He is in, of course, the epicenter of Zydeco punk being Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He'll be back next week with me to go over events from next week, which is a big rivalry week. We got Platte Maloney soccer and volleyball. We got Lyman Hall soccer and field hockey. All of that is next week. This week we had some good stuff too. It was kind of a funky little week here with Yom Kippur. We had some football on Thursday, football on Friday, some other good stuff in between. We're going to get to all of that, and let's just jump right into it. We're going to go up to West Hartford, where Pete was last night. Pete was actually, again, all over the place. Nashville, West Hartford, you name it, he's there. He was up in West Hartford for the Southington Conard game, and he's got some great clips here. We're going to show them to you. Now, Southington won 49-13. They're 4-0. They're cooking. Their offense is cooking. Defense gave up their first couple touchdowns of the season, but hey, scoreboard, 49-13. Let's look at some of Pete's clips. Nice balanced attack here for Southington. Check it out. Also, you can see Will Barmore, the various types of routes he's hitting guys on. Tim O'Shea. We got some nice runs from Tanner LaRosa and Ian Agnew. Check out Tanner LaRosa's touchdown run. Will Barmore's down there blocking downfield, too. Just make a note of number 12 there, the quarterback. What makes the difference between a good offense and a so-so offense? There you go. But here's the best clip. This is the one to see. Check out this one-handed juggling grab by Tim O'Shea. Boom, boom, boom. Huh? Every kid growing up in his backyard, how many times do you make that play humming the Monday Night Football theme? Tim O'Shea, you just lived the moment there. Great win for Southington, 49-13. They are 4-0, alive and kicking as they have been the past couple years. Also, on Thursday night, please make note, Pete was in West Hartford, got in his car, drove all the way down to Wallingford to check out the Lyman Hall Ferran game. Opening clip, check out this interception. Shakespeare Rodriguez, where are these lads? Where are these hearts? Unfortunately, that nice goal line interception by Shakespeare Rodriguez, who, by the way, has far and away the best name of any athlete going this fall. Pro, amateur, college, you name it. This interception didn't really turn the tide for Lyman Hall against Ferran. Ferran at SEC Tier 2 team, Lyman Hall Tier 3. Lyman Hall off to its best start at 2-1, but too much Jake Eubler that's Jared Eubler of Ferran. He's their quarterback. He scored a couple touchdowns, and he led Ferran to a 43-6 victory down at Lyman Hall. We also had a third game on Thursday night. This involved Cheshire and the other Milford team, and this Milford team did not make out so good against Cheshire, losing 38-7 on its home turf. Of note, Will Graykoski, senior backup quarterback, came in for an injured Jack Raba, as he has done in his sophomore year, in his junior year, here again in his senior year. Throws two touchdown passes, runs for one himself, and he leads Cheshire to a 38-7 win, exactly the kind of win Cheshire needed after losing to North Haven last week. Okay, so that's football from Thursday night. Before we get into Friday's games, let's check out some of the other sports, because Pete was here, there, and everywhere again, and Sean was often in tandem with him before he went down to Baton Rouge. They were up at Falcon Field. Some clips from Maloney girls soccer against Bristol Central. The Spartans lost that day to Bristol Central 2-1. Charlotte Lavin, see the girl going in there. She didn't score here, but she did score Maloney's goal that day. They lost to Central 2-1. Maloney will be back at Falcon Field on Monday hosting Platte in the doubleheader with the boys. We'll be at that event, as well as the Platte-Maloney volleyball match up at Maloney, where the Spartans will be honoring longtime coach Sandy Piontek, who was the woman who oversaw the program back in the 70s when Maloney was winning state championships every year. Okay, from soccer, we go over to the volleyball courts. Sheehan and Cheshire. This match was in Wallingford earlier this week. Cheshire won this match 3-1. Sheehan gave him a good little battle. Supervone pointed out a player on Sheehan who we'd like to point out too, Emily Musso, their libero, fantastic player. she's going to be an Athlete of the Week nominee soon. I don't normally like to guarantee things, but Joe Namath did it once, and he was spot on the money. I'm going to guarantee this one, too. Emily Musso, quite a player. On this night, though, against the Rams, Emily and the Titans could not overcome a team that's off to a 7-0 start. I'd like to point out that Lindsey Abramson of the Rams is one of our Athlete of the Week nominees for the current week. Remember, you can go online to myrecordjournal.com/sports to vote. Pete, if you could be so kind to put the address there. Da-ding. Lindsey Abramson is nominated. Olivia Dubik of Sheehan Girls Soccer. Melanie Polanco of Maloney Volleyball. The boys' nominees are Wes Tersey, Sheehan Football. Cam Jeremy of Platt Soccer. And Chris Savis of Wilcox Tech Soccer. Undefeated, just like the Cheshire Rams in volleyball. Okay, well, also this week, Pete was out and about for the LHLH field hockey game at Wallingford. That's Lyman Hall and Laurelton Hall. A defensive battle on the grass there, and it ended in a 1-1 tie. Lyman Hall actually should be pleased with that tie. They had some good defense in that game. Laurelton Hall was really carrying the attack. Lyman Hall earned a point, though, with the tie. And last but not least, most definitely not least, we have the Friday night football games. We had some weird and wild stuff tonight. Weird? Here's weird. Platt lost up at Wethersfield 17-7. Platt went in at 3-0. Wethersfield at 0-3. Flip it around, knock it around, reverse it, strike it. Platt lost 17-7. They are now 3-1. Platt will have to bounce back, and they're going to have to bounce back on the road next week at Windsor. But there's the challenge to the Panthers. Got to bounce back. And then another game tonight. This was a wild one down at Fairfield Prep. Get this, Fairfield Prep, the biggest SEC school as far as boys enrollment goes, against Sheehan, the smallest boys school as far as boys enrollment goes. These two teams matched up in a crossover game that you think, why is this game being played? It's such a mismatch. Tier 1 Prep, Tier 3 Titans. Well, you know what? Guess what? Sheehan goes out, kicks an onside kick to start the game, recovers it. They're on their way. Wes Tersey with a touchdown pass. Going into the fourth quarter, first play of the fourth quarter, Sheehan tied the game 21-21. David and Goliath, beautiful story unfolding. Problem was, Sheehan, they stopped Prep on downs and on a punt. 12 men on the field, keeps a drive alive for Prep. They go ahead. They wind up pulling away to a 38-21 victory. A devastating loss for Sheehan because they were so close to pulling off such a big upset, but what a great game by the Titans. It was their first loss. They're 3-1. Hey, there's no reason to think that the Titans will not be in the Class M playoffs. If anything, there's a loss where you derive a lot of confidence from. It's this one for the Titans. They'll be back home next week against the Creed Co-op, back in SEC Tier 3 competition. They're looking to defend their title there, and keep an eye on the Titans. Last game of the week was the game Pete was at with Joe Boyle. Justin Weeks was there taking some photos. You can check everything out online at myrecordjournal.com and also right here on the video show because, as you'll see, Pete, run those highlights, baby. A big night for Aiden Valentin joining the Maloney Spartans this year from Wilcox Tech. Great game for Aiden tonight. Bust free for a 32-yard touchdown run. Look at that hole. Boom, gone, untouched. Gets a little swing pass, takes that 32 yards for a touchdown. There's a nice little cut there. You'll see him. He's going for another touchdown. Scores again in the fourth quarter. Maloney's defense also played very well. Nice little goal line stand late in the first half. Maloney with the victory. They've won 3 in a row. They are now 3-1. They continue their little homestand at Falcon Field next week. We'll be there again. We want you to be back here again next Saturday because my man Sean Krofssik, who's usually here, and I love putting my arm on his big old shoulders. Shawnee, I know he'll be back. I hope you're having a good time down in Baton Rouge, recording your Zydeco Punk Fusion album. You know, Pete, he tells me that Clifton Chenier wants to do a guest appearance on that album. So, Shawnee, do your work, man, and come back and join us because we miss you, kid. And, folks, we hope you enjoyed our show. We'll be back next week with our This Week in High School Sports. A lot of stuff will be next week because we have the Maloney Platt matches and games on Monday, Lyman Hall Sheehan rivalry stuff, and, of course, a full slate of football next week before the bye week. Take care.